Some have gone to PSN offices. They've deposited 100,000 naira with their passport, or 50,000 naira in some cases, either for single or three phases. And now they tell them in 2 weeks.
will be kind of extortion. I don't know which meter costs 100,000, except it's a maximum demand meter.
Because I get some people who tell you, look, in Ikorodu, if I remember properly, they billed them 100,000 naira and told them to bring a passport.
For meter? For
3-phase meter. And then they said in about 2 weeks, the meter will be ready. I'll follow up on that and see how it goes.
It's supposed to be 50,000 for 3-phase meter.
50 for 3-phase. So what about single phase?
Single phase is supposed to be 25,000.
Wow. Okay, so now they pay this amount of money, and then they tell them, in 2 weeks, you come for the meter. So what happens at the end of the day? How do the person or the people involved recover their funds when they have paid for this?
Yes, what we did, we worked it out and say what you're recovering is the fixed charge component, which today is 700 naira and some cents. Okay, so you recover every month. Instead of paying that monthly charge, every month it is deducted, you don't pay. So we say minimum. So the disco can say we recover for you 800. We pay you. So in your bill, there's a deficit, a deduction of 800. So you won't pay 800 until in the period of 1 year or thereabout, it's amortized. So
are you getting, sorry to interrupt you, are you getting reports? Because I remember that you did come on air to say that program had kicked in. You're saying that Eco Distribution Zone, you're commending them for that, right?
Yeah.
Are you getting positive feedback that is truly the situation from those who have gotten meters from these companies?
Yes, what I commend is that Eco Distribution Company sends us a report and say, this is how far they have gone with the company, this is the number of meters they have installed, these people who applied, who paid, and this is what I've done. Now, this is why we have Eco Forum Office and Ikeja Forum Office, that if there are consumers who have paid for these meters and have not been supplied meter for 5 days as required, they will lay a complaint. So far, I've not got any complaint on people in Eco saying we paid for meter for 5 days after under company and we've not got. We've got a complaint of people who paid money long before that program, like the one we mandated that those who paid the last 2 years for meter and nobody installed them, they must be refunded. Now, we had a meeting with the new owners and we made it very clear. It's a crime in a way. It's also a debt to owe the customer. You can't wipe it away. It's true that the new discos are going to have legacy debt free, but the National Electricity Liability Management Company, LEMCO, and the government itself must be responsible to find a way to pay for those who paid for those meters and were not supplied. The two problems arise. One is that the discos, some of them didn't keep records. Some of these are underhand deals. But we are saying that those customers who have a record that they paid for these meters should bring them all, because there are liabilities in this market that have to be paid for. So we must ensure that those liabilities, the customers are not left with carrying the short pause at the end of the day. But essentially, there must be a process for documentation and proof that those things really occurred.
You know, I don't know how it works because the prepaid meter definitely is supposed to be something that is friendly.
Free, if you like.
And friendly in the sense that it is what is being expended that you're being charged on. But for some people, they think that maybe you talk more on that fixed charge. Is it going to be, well, a time, is there going to be a time when we stop the collection of that fixed charge? And why are we actually collecting that fixed charge when they tell you about maintenance and so many other jargons that you really don't understand?
I think many people argue that probably we shouldn't have a fixed charge, we just have one charge. And even if it comes to 30,000 per kilowatt hour, it's okay for them. The logic of fixed charges is a model for price electricity, and the model is simple. We say there are those costs that are fixed, no matter what you produce. Okay, today you hear that because of gas sabotage of gas pipeline, there's no power gas going to Gerego or going to Motosho. The plants are already installed, the operations are already there, the workers, like they always demand, will pay salary. So there are fixed capital investment. So the fixed charge is a way of recovering that. So what we do is this: the fixed charge would have been higher. We say no, let's reduce fixed charge. So the fixed charge is fixed because every month you paid it. Now it looks maybe a penalty because people say, but why should I pay every month this fixed charge? The alternative is to roll into all the fixed charge into the energy charge, but it will go too high. That's one. Secondly, yes, there will be a time when fixed charge will keep reducing, because if we attain very high level of reliability, a lot of supply in the market, you are sure that the investor knows that using energy charge, he can recover all his money. So that, what that means is that you will see, because let me give you an example. If you make investment and so can use early energy charge, and for one reason or other, there's no power to be sold, therefore your unit consumption is very low. It means that so many costs will not be recovered because you're only recovering from what I consume. So what we've done is to create a process by which, whether there is consumption or not, the customers are also paying for the investment, because that's the only way. But I can agree with you that we are thinking about reducing the fixed charge and putting the cost
and
into
you also agree that we won't have problems with consumption if we can actually produce enough and send to everyone. We won't have a lack, because people are all out to actually consume what is given to them. Mm-hmm. We have different communities growing in different hamlets, mm-hmm. different villages, and all of that. But some of them still don't have a taste of what it is like to have electricity. The other time we had a talk, absolutely. And Mark, I had to give a case in point of a place in Plateau State, and you have so many of them. Even in Lagos, it might interest you. Chamberlain talked about Ikorodu. There are so many communities that don't have access to electricity.
That's correct.
Even though they have the prepaid or the ancient meter. Mm-hmm. So what are they doing when we talk about power sector reforms mm-hmm. and the likes? The word they normally use is that we don't have a transformer. What we have we are sharing the load, or what is given to another community, a bit of it is given to our own community. Mm-hmm. So if the new investors are already here, mm-hmm. November 1, have they been able to put in place such facilities, infrastructure, like the transformers, absolutely. The electricity wires and poles you talked about?
Mm-hmm. What happens is that, when the new owners come, like the people who bought Ikeja, they will be interested in selling power to more consumers. Two things will happen. One, they want to get more electricity to sell, because right now, even the one they're selling is not enough to the customers connected. You probably have maybe 10 hours regular power supply or less.
No, I'll be celebrating if I had 10 hours.
Okay. I'm sure she's much more privileged.
Don't even go there, Dr. Amadi, because I'm serious. It's not funny anymore.
The point is, I get it. The point is, the disco would like to sell her 24 hours power because they make more money. Now that means they should have supply. Number one point. That's why we are doing this embedded generation regulation, so that people can set up 20 megawatts in Ikeja and say we want to sell to Ikeja Disco. So the work that the discos will do, they'll be looking for contracts to get more power into the grid. Number one. The NIPP power we're waiting for, the remaining 3,000 or so megawatts available, will also come to the grid. So we have more power. You first saturate the demand of those who are connected, because you want to have regular power, they are metered, your money is, is guaranteed. Second thing will happen is that there are many of the communities that are not yet connected. The question is, how do we connect them? Two ways. The disco will come back to us and say, this is our long-term expansion plan. We want to get to Ikorodu. We need to put the wires, we need to put the meters, we need to put this, we need to put that. Now that will be part of, they make a request for us to make that investment.
NERC to make the investment?
Yes, they ask us for approval.
Oh, okay.
For them to make
investment.
Because every investment must be recovered. So what will happen is that when they make the investment, we need to allow them to improve tariff. One. Now it goes
increase tariff.
It can go down or up. If the energy
never goes down.
No, if the energy expands, if they have more energy to sell, so the per unit cost will not be as much as if they have less. So the problem Nigeria had was that we were expanding access without energy to sell. So, for example, because of political issues, I come from this local government that I know electricity. I put a transformer there, force PSN to connect a wire to nowhere, and then there's no power to sell. So we are going to do two things. We're going to be expanding quantity in the market, and then expanding access, connecting more customers
to the grid.
But the point is, every of those expansion, we have financial cost. And our job as a regulator is to find a way to give them a longer recovery